Hello and welcome back to the Spider-Man limited set review. In this video, I'll be discussing all of the colorless, and that includes land cards in this set and how good I think they're going to be in limited with a focus around draft. There are 5 tiers that we use to evaluate cards around here. Tier 1 is good, Tier 5 is bad. The tiers are loosely related to where I would expect to pick the cards in a draft. Not necessarily overall power level. It's a mix. It's it's vibe based. It's how I feel. There's personal bias involved. It's not meant to be a perfect rating system, but it is meant to express how I feel about the cards. And we're gonna get started with Bagel and Schmear. One colorless for a food um, artifact. You can pay a single white and tap and sacrifice it to put a +1/+1 counter on up to one target creature. You draw a card, activate only as a sorcery. And you can pay 2 and tap it and sacrifice it. You gain 3 life and draw a card. This looks pretty trinkety and not great. Unlike Nutrient Block from the last set, this does not work by getting sacrificed. Fortunately, nothing does that in this set. I mean, I don't think there's nothing, but in the last set, there were several things you could use to sacrifice the block and get it to work, and that made Nutrient Block a reasonable card. Nutrient Block was actually a tier 3 card in the last set, which I was just surprised by, because those type of cards tend not to really play super well. But this one, I'm not expecting much from. I'm really not. And the reason is, it's just too small ball, right? Like, we saw that Honor, which was a single white to put a +1/+1 counter on something and draw a card, was bad, and we know that, paying an extra card to make a food token and draw a card, it's just not really worth it. Like, paying 3 total mana to cycle isn't great. It's like a revitalize, and, just neither mode on this card's good. I don't expect it to really be played at all. Should probably even put it in tier 5, but it is like the floor is only so low. Doc Ock's Tentacles. 1 colorless mana for an equipment. Whenever a creature you control with mana value 5 or greater enters, you may attach this equipment to it. Equipped creature gets +4/+4, and you're equipping for 5 colorless mana. So this really is only going to work in the red-green deck, and my question is, do you really want to play an equipment that only works on your already really large creatures? And I think the answer is no. You're essentially, like, equipping for 5 is too much, just in general, and, if your opponent ever bounces your creature, I mean, I guess it does sort of play around that, at least, where, like, if it re-enters, you could re-equip it, but it still doesn't really solve any of the problems with this type of effect where you're just paying 1 and having a thing sit on the battlefield forever and not do anything. So I think this is pretty bad, but maybe it'll work. It's sick with the red-green big uncommon that I regret giving the grade that I did, but we live and we breathe. Um it's Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like these type of cards. Eerie Gravestone. Now this is a card. 2 colorless for an artifact. When this artifact enters, draw a card. You pay 1 black to sacrifice it and mill 4 cards. You put a creature card from among them into your hand. This kind of looks like a house to me. So you're essentially getting 4 mana. I'm surprised they pushed this much. Like, this is like way more pushed than they usually make colorless cards. This is a black card. This is not colorless. But I mean, this is kind of sick. I don't know. Like, you get your card back immediately, and then later on in the game, you get to basically draw a second card. And milling 4 cards is pretty relevant in this set. There's a lot of stuff that cares about the graveyard in black. Um, yeah, I think you can find a lot of uses for this. Now, you know, have I put it higher than tier 3? No, but I kind of believe in this. I think this is actually a solid value engine in black, and one that's actually worth pursuing. And I think it could be really decent in blue black. Like, blue black is really the home for this, I think. But maybe there's a mayhem element of it. I don't know. Hot dog cart. 3 colorless. When this artifact enters, you create a food token, and then you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. This seems like a worse version of the manolith. We've had some good manoliths and some bad manoliths this year. This one seems worse than usual. If it just gained you 3 life, it would probably be the same. I don't think it's very good. There's better fixing in this set. We don't need this, I don't think. But you can kind of play it if you really need to. Interdimensional Web Watch. 4 colorless for an artifact. When it enters, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. You can tap it to add 2 mana any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast spells from exile. It is not the easiest to get spells into exile in this set. You can do it in red, but there really isn't a ton of it going on. There's some amount. It's pretty average, I would say, in terms of like spells being in exile that you can cast. So you really are only going to get to cast the spells that you exile with this, which is decent, but then you're paying a colorless draw 2 for 4 that maybe helps you cast one of the cards you drew, and you have to cast them immediately. Not immediately, but, you know, soon. You gotta cast them soon. You get 1 turn to cast them. If you hit 2 lands, you only draw 1 card. That's pretty bad, although you did get the lands off of your deck, whatever. It's, I think this is okay, but I do think that it's not the best. Iron Spider, Stark Upgrade. 3 colorless for a 2/3 with vigilance. You can tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on each artifact, creature, and/or vehicle you control. So that includes this creature. You can pay 2 to remove 2 +1/+1 counters from artifacts you control to draw a card. So this is kind of like Steel Overseer, I think, because I think Steel Overseer put counters on itself. Now, this is a 3 mana spell that is a 2/3 with vigilance. And so I guess, but it attacks as a 3/4. I should move this up a bit. To be honest with you, I think this is too low, because every turn it grows to be larger, if you want. And oh no, you can just does every turn because yeah. I'm gonna move this up a bit because it includes itself. It basically is a creature that grows every turn of the game, and it can always attack, it can always block, and it can always like grow itself. So turn 3, it's a 2/3, doesn't block that well. Turn 4, it's a 3/4. Turn 5, it's a 4/5. But if you have any other artifact creatures, which there aren't that many of, there's some that you could maybe play. But you know, if it does come up, and there's a cycle of common vehicles that we'll get to in a bit, and I think this will play well with those. I think this is actually pretty good. The vigilance is really doing a lot of work because it allows it to always grow every turn and still attack. Like you can still attack and grow, and you can do those in the same turn, and that's actually really big. And the fact that you can sometimes take counters off it to draw cards is sure, that's fine. I think this is actually pretty good. Again, there are issues with it. It does not block on turn 3 very well. That's a problem. I acknowledge that, but it blocks on turn 4 pretty well, and then it's just sort of off to the races from there. Living Brain Mechanical Marvel. 4 colorless for a 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target non-equipment artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 3/3 until end of turn, untap it. So again, with the whole cycle of vehicles, or I don't know if they're all vehicles, but there's a cycle of colored like related artifacts that could work with this. Now, this is also a 4 mana 3/3, and you need to have something else in play for it to do the thing. So that's a lot. That's a lot to ask. I personally feel like it's kind of too much to ask. It does get the thing. It does work the turn you play it, right? You play this, and the thing turns on, and then this is, you attack with a 3/3, great. But your opponent is gonna have a pretty easy time removing this. Dies to the 1 mana black-red removal spell at common. Dies to the 2 mana black removal spell at common. Dies to the Mayhem red removal spell. I don't know. I'm not thrilled about this, but I could be surprised. I'm room to move on this one. Room to move. Mechanical Mob Stir. 3 colorless for a 2/1. When this creature enters exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, target creature you control connives. You know, this card is going to be too bad to see play, I think, in the main, but I actually... Removing stuff from graveyards is kind of sneaky good in this set. It, like, kind of matters for a lot of things. This is going to be, 3 mana, 2/1 Connive is bad, but it's not horrible, and you can choose a creature that's not this one. So there's something, it's a villain. I don't know, I kind of like the design on this card. I don't think it's great, but I actually do kind of believe in it a little bit out of the board. News Helicopter. 3 colorless for 1/1 with flying. When it enters, create a 1/1 green and white human creature, citizen creature token. So this is a functional reprint of the Thopter guy from Neon Dynasty that was sort of a decent card. It was okay. That set had ninjutsu. This set has web slinging, very similar mechanics. And you would play the 1/1 flyer sometimes, and I think that will happen in this set. Does go wide a little bit. Green white cares about that sort of. There's other stuff going on. Yeah, it works really well with the rare that we just saw earlier. So yeah, I think this is okay. Passenger Ferry. 3 colorless for a 4/3 vehicle. When this vehicle attacks, you may pay a single blue. When you do, another target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn, and it has crew 2. Crew 2 is pretty bad. We sort of know this, that crew 2 is just always worse than it reads. It's like, oh, crew 2, it can't be that much harder to crew than crew 1. Well, actually it is. And this raid is pretty bad. The fact that it can't make itself unblockable, I understand why it can't do that. It would probably be, annoying, but did it could be a push that button. I think it would have been okay. I think we maybe could have pushed that button, but as it stands, I'm not excited about this. Peter Parker's Camera. Single colorless mana for an artifact. Enters with 3 film counters on it. You can pay 2 and tap it to remove a film counter from this artifact. Counter, copy target activated or triggered ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. This is just not worth it. You're tacking 2 mana on to each of your triggered abilities. I'm sure people will try to make this work, and you can sort of, in your head, you can justify, oh no, it worked in this spot, it worked, it looked good this one time. But yeah, it's mostly gonna just not be that great. Rocket-powered Goblin Glider. 3 colorless for an equipment. When it enters, if it was cast from your graveyard, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has flying and haste, and it has equip 2 and mayhem for 2. This looks pretty good. It is a mayhem card. You do not want to play this card as just an equipment, and that's why it's in tier 3. The reason it's in tier 3 is that it is a mayhem only card. You do not want to play this card as an equipment for 3 and then, I guess you get flying and haste. Maybe I should just move it up. It's pretty sick. Like, you are kind of just doing it. It's so much better when you mayhem it, though. Like, so much better. You get one, it's cheaper, and you get to attach it immediately. Oh, it's so much better when you get to... Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it in tier 3 because it's just mayhem. But I mean, this card's... If you only play this in your mayhem decks, it's probably a tier 1 card. Because... if you just look at this as costing 3 red-black, and the mayhem cost is red-black, how would I rate this card then? I would probably rate it a little bit higher. So I should rate it a little bit higher then. Let's do that. I think, having the buyout is upside, right? If you think about it as, if you enable mayhem, this card's great, and the upside is, okay, I can just spend 5 to cast it and equip it if I have to. That's upside. So I think this is actually really good. I really like this equipment, which means that it's going to be miserable to play with and against, because that's the card type. Spiderbot, 2 colorless for 2 with reach. When it enters, you may search a library for a basic land card, reveal it, shuffle, and put that card on top. Yeah, this is your very typical, what's it called? Dune mover of it all. There's 8,000 different versions of it at this point. They found a formula for this card. It's kind of exactly what they want. This one has reach. That's actually pretty big upside, I think. So I think this will be solid. This one might even be moving up to tier 3 at some point during the format. I could see it happening. Spider-Mobile. 3 colorless for a 3/3 with trample. It's a vehicle. When this vehicle attacks or blocks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each spider you control, and you can crew it for 2. This seems pretty bad. It does have trample, I guess. But vehicles that just are vehicles and have no ETB and no board impact tend to be pretty bad. And this one, I think, is going to be pretty bad. Spider Slayer Hatred Honed. 2 colorless for a 2/1. Whenever a Spider Slayer deals damage to a spider, destroy that creature. You can pay 6 colorless to exile it from your graveyard and create 2 tapped 1/1 colorless robot artifact creature tokens with flying. Yeah, I mean that graveyard ability is really nice. And again, there are going to be spiders around, not so many that this is going to be oppressive, but I think that buyout mode is really, really good. Just having the option to be like, yep, gonna make 2 flyers, my 2-drop, trade it off, made 2 flyers. Yeah, I think that's gonna be pretty good. Spider Suit, single colorless for an equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and is a spider hero in addition to its other types. Equip for 3. That's just too much. Equipping for 3 is just too much. It's too easy to blow out. It's too easy to have it not work. Too easy for that to be meaningless. So yeah, just not a very good equipment. Steel Wrecking Ball. 5 colorless mana for an artifact. When it enters, it deals 5 damage to target creature. And you can pay 1 red to discard it and destroy target artifact. Kind of weird. It's basically a red card. It's yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not super thrilled about this. It's bad removal in red. That has upside, I guess. Subway Train. 2 colorless for a 3/1 vehicle. When this vehicle enters, you may pay a green. If you do, search your library for basically end card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle, and it does crew 2. I like this. So you're 3 mana, you get a land, you get a 3/1 vehicle with crew 2, which isn't great, but you're getting your card back, you're fixing your mana. Yeah, I mean, this seems fine. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's amazing or anything. It's basically a green card, but we've seen these effects be reasonable in the past. Daily Bugle Building. We are onto the lands. Tap it to add a colorless, or you can pay 1 and tap it to add 1 mana of any color. And you can pay 1 and tap it. Target legendary creature gains menace until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. This seems a little light on the upside for me to be excited about running it. Obviously, the first copy you're probably running in most decks because it's not really a downgrade. I think this is largely. I think at the end of the format, people will have come to the conclusion this is worse than Crystal Grotto. Whichever of the grottos surveils one when it ETBs. It's worse than a grotto. I think people will come to that conclusion. It's possible that the other thing might be true and it's actually better, and you get to. There are a lot of legends in the set, a lot of uncommon and rare legends in the set, but Menace is only so powerful of an ability, and yeah. Multiversal Passage. As this land enters, choose a basic land type. Then you may pay 2 life. If you don't, it enters tapped. This land is the chosen type. So this is a upgrade over Uncharted Haven. Uncharted Haven's great. This is going to be great. I don't really have any notes. Ominous Asylum is a land that enters tapped. You can tap it to add red or black, and you can pay 4 and tap it to surveil 1. So this land represents the full cycle. I don't grade these individually. Some people do, some people don't. I don't feel the need to. I find that they're all often the same. Usually the green ones tend to be better than the non-green ones, but this one's going to be great. I don't know. These lands are good value lands. They're good fixing. You don't want to take them super, super high, especially in a set where not all 10 color pairs are supported. I should actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go check. Give me a second. So Wizards is smart. There is only a half cycle of these cards, which means that there are only 5 of them total. So keep that in mind. They're gonna match the supported decks. So red black, blue black, green white, green red, and blue. I don't know why I did this in the most confusing possible order. Blue white. There we go. I did it. I don't know why I really made that hard on myself for no reason. But yeah, so this cycle, there's 5 of them. They're all going to be good. They're going to be important for helping your deck work. You can actually play. I would say these are good enough that you would play the first copy of it as like a mountain or a swamp. Oscorp Industries. This land enters tapped. When this land enters from a graveyard, you lose 2 life. And tap to add blue, black, or red, and you can it has mayhem. Yeah, this looks good. This is good fixing. Very similar to the other stuff. It's better than the dual lands slightly, but yeah, good. And we have the mirrored pair of Urban Retreat, which enters tapped, and you can tap it for green, white, or blue. You can pay 2 to return a tapped creature you control to its owner's hand and put this card from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. So it has web slinging as a land. Yep, again, good fixing. Which of the 2 of these is better? I don't really care to comment on that. They are distinct enough that I've reviewed them separately, but they're both good. And the final card in the set is Vibrant Cityscape. It is a land that you can tap to sacrifice, search the library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. It is Evolving Wilds. I like Evolving Wilds a lot. There's always little cool things you can do with it. And it's always good, and you will always play the first copy, and I'm always happy to draft it. So that's it. That's it for the Spider-Man set review. 188 is the set number on the bottom of this card. There was actually fewer cards that I reviewed because, again, I grouped some of the lands together. I probably only reviewed 180 cards. Really small. That's about 2/3 of the size of a normal set these days. So we're gonna see what that looks like. I'm curious to see what happens. It's always cool when stuff is a little bit different. A little bit of a small set. Maybe in the future we'll have a little bit of a larger set. I really doubt that, but it could happen. But that's it. If you enjoyed, please feel free to stick around, subscribe, watch the other set review stuff. There will be some other Spider-Man content. I've been streaming a little bit less, but we'll see what happens in the future. See you.